So, Eddie Howe has been speaking to the media ahead of the first Premier League game of the season, which, of course, is tomorrow at St James's Park with a 5:30pm kickoff. You can catch all the commentary live here on the Toon Review from 5 o'clock with Billy and Alex. Half an hour's build-up to the game, including team news and, of course, play-by-play commentary of the full 90 minutes of the game. Very, very exciting. It's the first game of the season. That buzzes around again, and certainly with the signings we've brought in, we are very excited to see how this season goes, and, of course, the Champions League as well. So Eddie has been speaking to the media in his press conference this morning ahead of the game. Let's take a look. Hi everybody, I'm Paul. Welcome back to the Daily News Show on the Toon Review YouTube channel. As usual, if you do enjoy today's show, guys, please do give it the thumbs up. It does keep us up there in the YouTube algorithms, etc. So fellow fans like yourselves can find the channel in the future. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, please do hit that subscribe button. Completely free to do so. And of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload any videos or we go live. Right, so Eddie Howe has put a few things straight in his press conference. Of course, there was a lot of debate about Fabian Schar. He wasn't seen in any of the training photos, so had he been training? The answer is yes. He's also had a few things to say about transfers and things like that. So first of all, though, ahead of the opener, he says, I feel we're in a good place. It was an intense pre-season period for us. The doubleheader at the weekend, I think, finished off where we needed to be. I think now we enter the season where you'd expect after a full pre-season, fit, eager and looking forward to the challenge. So basically, he's got no problems with the fitness. I think he was right. It was a very intense pre-season, of course, with those games before and after America. Very successful tour of the States, let's be honest. Some good performances. And we finished the pre-season calendar unbeaten, which I think, yes, it's only pre-season, but I think that's very important as well, that we managed to finish the pre-season unbeaten. So a lot of credibility came out of it, and a lot of youngsters came out of it with a lot of positives. You look at Lewis Miley, Alex Murphy, Elliot Anderson, players like that, they have come out shining from this pre-season and have suddenly pushed themselves up into Eddie Howe's first team plans, or certainly first team squad plans. Maybe not into the actual first 11 yet, but we'll see. We don't know what Eddie Howe's going to do with the first 11 tomorrow. That's a certainty. Now, on Fabian Schar, he says, as it currently stands, yes, he'll be available. He's trained this week and trained well. He was back with us on Tuesday, and so he's had a full week of training. Now, anyone that knows Fabian Schar will know that if he's had a full week of training, this guy's going to be fit to play. He's like a Terminator. Somehow he looks down and out, but then he gets back fit, and it looks like there's been no change. So Eddie Howe practically saying there that, Fabian's going to start, which might be a relief to some supporters that they're not going to see, Jamal Lascelles starting. I think that was a worry for a lot of fans that we were going to see the club skipper starting alongside Botman. And, certainly the pace that Aston Villa have got, that might have put us at risk of conceding a few goals tomorrow. But knowing that Fabian's back, he reads the game so well. He's come through last season brilliantly. And it's a bonus that he's going to be fit for the game tomorrow. Now, he moved on to talk about Tino Livramento as well. He says he's very athletic, incredibly quick, got a really good endurance levels, and technically very good. He's back after a long injury, but he's done all of the pre-season with Southampton, so he looks in good physical condition, but we need to look after him. He's a really exciting player. Now, again, this has caused a lot of debate on our shows and on generally social media about where Tino Livramento is going to slot into the starting 11. Is he an understudy to Kieran Trippier, or will he get some games at left back, etc.? I thought there might be a chance of him playing at left back, certainly against Villa with the pace of Diaby, who we know has got frightening pace. However, I think Livramento will probably be on the bench tomorrow, along with a couple of others. Look, we know we've got a fantastic bench. That's the main thing. The subs bench tomorrow is going to be very, very strong. Stronger than we've had in a very, very long time. We will have never had such a strong bench as what we're going to have tomorrow. So making substitutions for Eddie during the game, if he needs to change things, is going to be a lot easier than it has in the past. There's no doubt about that. Tino Livramento, we are very excited about, obviously, as fans. We know how good he was at Southampton, how good he was at Chelsea's academy as well. and he can only get better under Eddie Howe, in my opinion. Eddie will bring him on, bring him forward, and hopefully push him towards an eventual England squad place, because that's where the pundits believe this guy is headed, and we've got a real star in the making here. But again, from what Eddie said there, you think, yeah, he's going to be a little bit careful with Tino, sort of slowly integrate him into the team lineup and things like that, like he did with certain other signings. So maybe we're not going to see Tino Livramento in the first 11 tomorrow. Now then, he went on to talk about Sandro Tonali. Of course, Tonali, again, is a talking point. Is he going to start with Joe Linton and Bruno, or will Sean Longstaff hold his place down? Well, Eddie went on to say about Tonali, he says, when you're bringing players in from abroad, I think it's really important you try to get them early. There's a settling in period, both on and off the pitch, you need to try and navigate through. So I have to compliment Sandro on how he's handled the move and how he's adapting to those changes. He's done really well. So again, he's not giving anything away if Sandro Tonali is going to be in the starting lineup tomorrow. Basically, from what he said there, he's just very, very pleased with the way he's performed and the way he's sort of conducted himself, really. So I think it's very, very important that, again, we give Tonali time. A lot of people were very critical of him in pre-season, which I never quite understood, because, pre-season is that time where, you get used to the speed of things. Tonali isn't used to the speed of the Premier League, which I think why, a couple of games in America will have done him the power of good, because playing against Premier League teams, it's the pace, etc. He looked very decent for me against Fiorentina last week as well. So I don't have any worries over Tonali. In fact, I'm very, very excited to see him play in the Premier League. But again, does Eddie slowly integrate him into Premier League football? We know he's played plenty friendlies. He's fit. There's nothing wrong with him fitness-wise or anything like that. But does he do what he did with Bruno? Just hold him back a few games, let him get used to the pace with a couple of cameo substitute appearances, and then sort of bring him in to the starting 11. Very similar to what he did, of course, with Bruno. But only time will tell. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Tonali will start, or do you think he'll be on the bench? And of course, speaking of picking teams and predictions and things like that, if you're watching this on the Friday, please join us at 7 p.m. tonight, live match preview of the Newcastle Villa game, where we will give you our predictions, our predicted team lineups, which will probably be a long way off what they actually are, because we know Eddie always swings curveballs, doesn't he? Now, on the season ahead, he says, naturally, you move from challenge to challenge, and now I think the one in front of us is our biggest challenge. But we have to be excited about it. We have to take it head on. We go into a very difficult start, and that's another challenge added to it, but we'll give it our best shot. We'll go all in, and that's all I can ask the players to do, their absolute maximum. So again, he's not sort of shying away from how big this challenge is going to be this season. And again, you get stupid pundits talking about ridiculous things like, if Eddie gets off to a bad start, they'll fire him instantly. I don't think that's the case at all. And certainly from watching the first episode of the documentary, it's clear to see how much these owners think of Eddie Howe, by the way. It's not like they're just going to lose a few games and think, right, we're getting rid of Eddie. That's not going to be the case. They think the world of Eddie Howe. And I think there's a fantastic relationship between the management and the coaches and the hierarchy at the club. So it all seems to be fantastic. So I think Eddie's got a lot of cash in the bank, if you like, as to sort of pressure on him. But Eddie knows, and he said it last night in the documentary. Sorry, this morning in the documentary. If you watched it, he said about pressure, and he says he doesn't get worried as a manager. If he get worried, that sort of affects his job. He looks for solutions more than worry about things. So again, he's just very excited to get going, and he's obviously, he knows what the ambitions are for the club. It's his ambitions as well. It's not like Eddie Howe doesn't have the same ambitions as anybody else. This guy wants success. This guy wants to be a legend at Newcastle and win things and be the first manager to win things in a very, very long time. So for me, he's going in, the cups will be very important, I think, as well. Maybe not Carabao as much, but I think the FA Cup, he's learnt his lesson over the last couple of years. I think he'll want to run in the FA Cup this year as well. So for me, it's all very exciting. Now, finally, on Joe Willock. Joe Willock, we know, suffered that horrendous hamstring injury in the Leicester City game at the end of last season. And we didn't think it would really rule him out for as long as it has, but obviously it's been a very, very difficult comeback for for him. Joe's worked hard through the summer. He had a serious injury to his hamstring. He missed the back end of last season. He's just felt a little bit of discomfort in his hamstring. Not necessarily another pull, but some discomfort. We'll probably miss him for the first group of games before the first international break. So there you go. It doesn't look like Joe Willock is going to play any part before September, so I think we can confidently rule him out of any games. It's obviously difficult coming back from that kind of hamstring injury. You know, especially when you start running again and you start kicking a football, you'll feel that pull in the hamstring, and you think, is that just stiffness or is that actually a muscle problem? So Eddie's clearly concerned, but again, we've got the very, very top medical staff working with Joe Willock, and I'm sure we'll see him sooner rather than later, which will be great to have him back as well, because remember, he hasn't played anything in pre-season, and the team has done as well as it has. So still with a player of Joe Willock's quality to come back, I think it's absolutely fabulous. Now, Eddie did talk about transfers as well, slightly, saying that he would love to bring possibly one more player through the door. But, you know, again, he talked about how difficult the transfer market is, etc., and might find it very difficult to do so. But he still wants one player, whether that be, he did mention the loan system and things like that. So just keep your eyes open, guys, because I don't think Newcastle United are particularly done in this transfer window just yet. And finally, I'd just like to say something to Jurgen Klopp, of course, of Liverpool. You know, he putting this £111 million bid in for Caicedo. How hypocritical does he look now? How stupid does he look after all the comments he made about Newcastle United last season being this superpower and Liverpool go and spend the money they have in the summer? However, just before I started recording, it looks like Caicedo wants to go to Chelsea and is going to turn Liverpool down. Because he made a promise to Chelsea that they would be his first choice. So very interesting to see how that'll play out. But anyway, let me know what you think of what Eddie's had to say in the comments. I do read all the comments. Very interested to know what your thoughts are on what he's had to say about certain players. Who do you think might be in the starting lineup, etc.? Because I haven't got a bloody clue at the minute. So, you know, I'm spending today trying to prepare for the show tonight and think, who's going to be my starting 11? It's very, very difficult. But this is what Eddie wanted. He'd rather have this than really just have a pick 11 and nothing on the bench either. This is what he wanted. He wanted a quality squad, and it's getting there, guys. It's getting there. So let me know in the comments below. And as usual, as I said earlier, if you are watching this on the Friday afternoon and tonight at 7 p.m. we do have the match review for the Villa game with predicted lineups and tactics and things like that. So it should be a great show. Join us for that one at 7. And of course, the watch along tomorrow starting at 5 p.m. Half an hour's build up and then full play-by-play commentary of the 90 minutes. But thank you very much for watching, guys. As I said at the start, if you have enjoyed, please do give it the thumbs up. And of course, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button. Help us on the way to 23,000. It is completely free. And of course, hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any videos. We do have some extra podcasts across on Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon subscriber, for a small fee every month, you get much more podcasts from us behind the scenes, off camera. So check that out. The link will be in the description. But in the meantime, guys, have a wonderful Friday and we'll see you very soon. Take care.